So I'm super excited about reading this book to you today, and it is about our theme. It is about a shark. But let me tell you the title. It's called The Three Little Fish and the Big Bad Shark. Now, what does this title remind you of? Does it remind you of a story we've read before? I don't know. Let's see, okay? There he is, the big bad shark and those three little fish. Let's see what's going to happen. Can you make a prediction about what's going to happen? This is written by Ken Geist and Julia Gordon. We don't know who the author or the illustrator is, but maybe they did it together, right? Oh, it says it right here. The author is Ken Geist and the illustrator is Julia Gordon. She drew the pictures. Once upon a time, a mama fish and her three little fish, Jim, Tim, and Kim, lived in the ocean. Mama said to Jim, Tim, and Kim, "It is now time for each of you to make a home in the deep blue sea on your own." The first little fish, named Jim, swam away and met a seahorse playing in some seaweed. "Can I have some of that seaweed so I can build a house?" "Take as much as you can carry," said the seahorse. Jim gathered the seaweed and made a weedy little house. You know where this is going? Jim had just finished building his seaweed house when he heard the big bad shark knocking at the door. Little fish, let me come in." The little fish trembled and replied, "Not by the skin of my finny fin. Then I'll munch and I'll crunch and I'll smash your house in," roared the shark. Does this remind you of anything yet? So the big bad shark munched and he crunched and he ate up every bit of the seaweed house. And Jim swam away just in time. Soon, Jim found his brother Tim and said, "Don't worry, Jim, we fish stick together. You can help me build a sandy little house." So what is he going to use as his house? A sandcastle. Can you make a prediction? Do you think the shark's going to be able to get in the sandcastle? Jim and Tim had just started to relax in the sandy little house when the big bad shark came knocking at the door. Little fish, let me come in." To which the brave little fish replied, "Not by the skin of my finny fin. Then I'll munch and I'll crunch and I'll smash your house in," roared the shark. What do you think? He's going to get in? So the big bad shark munched and he crunched until he got a sandy mouthful and the house crumbled. Jim and Tim swam and swam until they reached their sister Kim. Kim was setting up her house in an old wooden ship. "The big bad shark destroyed our houses." "Don't worry, you can live with me," said Kim, and they did. What do you think now? Here he comes. The three little fish had just finished lunch when they heard the big bad shark knocking at the door. Little fish, let me come in." To which the smart fish replied, "Not by the skin of my finny fin. Then I'll munch and I'll crunch and I'll smash your house in," roared the shark. What do you think? The big bad shark munched and crunched, but he could not smash the house in. And all his teeth fell out. The three little fish were safe at last. What is he eating? Seaweed, right? The end. So, what did that story remind you of? That story about the three little pigs and the big bad wolf? Yes, right? But did it have the same kind of ending? Right. By the end, they figured out to build a tougher house that the shark could not get into. But in the end, there's something about this story that really makes me know that this is fiction. First of all, why is it fiction? How do you know it's fiction? How do you know it's a made-up story? Because they're talking to each other, right? Come on. Sharks and fish don't talk like that. But another thing is at the end, what happened to the shark's teeth? They all fell out, right? And then he was just eating seaweed, right? But what do we know about shark's teeth? What happens to a shark's tooth when it comes out or it breaks? It grows back, and he's got layers and layers and layers of them. So most likely that would never happen. But we're glad it happened in this story because it saved the 3 little fish. And that reminded you of the 3 little pigs, right? Good story. Okay, see you later at the wedding on Zoom.